What you're looking at right now should not exist in anyone's home. This is a junction box I opened up on a job last month, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this could have killed someone. Exposed copper, no ground wires, backstabbed connections that were literally melting, and all of it done by some guy on Craigslist who told the homeowner he was basically an electrician. As a licensed electrician, I've seen things that keep me up at night, and today I'm sharing the worst of the worst so you know what to look out for in your home.
Before I get into the horror stories, I want to explain why this stuff happens, because it's not always shady contractors. Some of it is age. Homes built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s have wiring that was perfectly legal and code compliant at the time. Aluminum wiring, cloth-insulated wiring, two-prong ungrounded outlets, none of this was considered dangerous when it was installed. But these older systems don't mix well with modern electrical loads, and over time they degrade in ways that create real hazards. Some of it is DIY. Homeowners who watched YouTube videos and decided they could save money by doing their own electrical work. Sometimes it works out, often it doesn't, and the scary part is, it might look fine for years before it fails. Some of it is genuinely bad contractors, unlicensed, uninsured, untrained, cutting corners on every job. And some of it is deferred maintenance, issues that started small and got ignored until they became dangerous. All of these end up in the same place: a licensed electrician opening up a panel or pulling out an outlet and finding something that should not exist. First one. I get called out for a panel inspection on a 1970s ranch home. The homeowner wants to add a hot tub. I open the panel and immediately I see the Stab Lock logo. Federal Pacific Electric. If you don't know the history, FPE breakers were manufactured with a defect that causes them to fail to trip under overload conditions. A breaker that doesn't trip is a breaker that lets the wire behind it overheat until it catches fire. This panel was fully loaded, 20 circuits, and when I tested the breakers, roughly half of them didn't trip properly. Half. That means half the circuits in this house had no real overcurrent protection. The family had been living here for 8 years. I didn't install the hot tub that day. I told the homeowner the panel needed to come out before we could discuss anything else. They pushed back on the cost. I walked them to the panel and showed them the burn marks on 3 of the breakers. That ended the conversation. Federal Pacific Stab Lock panels. Replace them. No exceptions. No, it's been fine for 30 years. It's been fine until it isn't. A homeowner called me because his garage circuit kept tripping. He'd installed a subpanel in the garage himself to add circuits for his workshop. When I opened the subpanel, I found electrical tape, not wire nuts, not wire connectors, not any kind of listed connector, just tape wrapped around twisted wire ends. The tape was melted on 2 of the connections. One of the connections wasn't even twisted together properly. The wires were just touching under the tape with minimal contact. The breakers were installed, but the neutral bar had 3 wires under a single lug in places that required individual connections. And the panel was not bonded. The ground and neutral were connected together in the subpanel, which creates a return path issue that can energize metal enclosures downstream. This subpanel was powering a table saw, a dust collector, and a welder. Under load, those bad connections were heating up every time he ran the equipment. The circuit was tripping because it was actually working correctly. The only thing preventing a fire was the breaker catching the overload that the bad connections were creating. Complete tear-out. Licensed subpanel installation. The homeowner told me he'd spent $300 on parts and saved himself a $1,200 contractor fee. The repair cost him $2,800. I get called to a home for a routine inspection during a real estate transaction. The buyer wants to know if the electrical is in good shape before they close. The sellers say everything's been fine, no problems, no complaints. I open the main panel. The inside of the panel door has a brown scorch mark, about 6 inches in diameter, centered on the upper left breakers. There are 2 double-pole breakers in that area with melted plastic on the handles. The bus bar behind one of the breakers shows visible discoloration from heat. The wire insulation on 3 conductors in that section of the panel is stiff and cracked, heat damage over time. The sellers had absolutely no idea. They'd never opened the panel. This had been happening slowly, probably over years, and nobody noticed because panels are out of sight and out of mind. The root cause, a double-tapped breaker that was improperly installed at some point, creating a loose connection. Loose connections arc. Arcing generates heat. Heat over time damages insulation and components. Eventually, that leads to a fire. The deal's still closed after a full panel replacement as a condition of sale. But if that house had sat another year or two, it's possible we'd be telling a different story. This is the one I still think about. Older home, converted garage being used as a bedroom. I'm doing an inspection, and I notice one of the outlet boxes feels warm. I pull the cover plate. Someone had taken a heavy-duty orange extension cord, cut off the plug end, stripped the wires, and stapled it into the wall cavity, terminating in the back of an outlet box using wire nuts. The other end of the extension cord ran behind the drywall, out through a hole near the baseboard, and plugged into an outlet in the adjacent room. Extension cords are not rated for in-wall use. They're not listed for permanent installation. The insulation degrades differently than NM cable. The conductors aren't sized or rated for what gets plugged into them. And whoever did this had it running through a wall cavity. If that extension cord had failed, the fire would have started inside the wall where nobody would have seen it. I've never figured out who did this or why. But whoever was living in that space was plugging things into that outlet every day, trusting it. It failed inspection immediately.
I know what some of you are thinking. I can do it myself and save money. And look, I get it. Money's tight. Electricians aren't cheap. But here's the thing. That $300 you saved by doing it yourself could cost you your house. Or worse, someone's life. When you hire a licensed electrician, you're hiring someone who spent 4 to 5 years as an apprentice, passed state exams, carries insurance, and pulls permits. That permit means a city inspector is going to come out and verify the work is safe and up to code. That's your safety net. When you hire the cheapest guy on Facebook Marketplace who says he does electrical on the side, you have no safety net, no insurance, no recourse if something goes wrong. And trust me, I've built half my business fixing the work of those guys. Do your research. Verify the license. Most states have a website where you can look it up. Ask for proof of insurance. Get it in writing. And if the price seems too good to be true, it probably is. Your home is the most expensive thing you own. Your family is inside it. Don't gamble with their safety to save a few $100. If you want more content like this, real talk about the trades, what to look for in your home, and how the industry actually works, hit subscribe. Hardwired Trades. I'll see you in the next one.